Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for coming to our pitch day. As you know, we have a pitch day every Tuesday at 5 p.m. UK time. I'm really pleased to be today with you again. And today, we slightly change our way how to conduct a pitch. We have a new way, which means we bring any time we go live one investor. The investor is acting as our judge, if we can talk in this way. We don't need judge, but we need someone who helps our founders to understand exactly what they're doing and making some question and some understanding for who is watching our today event. So without talking too much, but going straight to the point, today we had four great founders coming from everywhere around the world. We are very global and we like to be global, we will always be. And regarding our investors today, Alex Feldman is general partner at Feldman Family Offices. Alex, thank you so much for your time today being with us. And I can't wait to have you talking to founders and questioning them about the business. But before, let me start with our first founder, Damian Forhagen. I hope, Damian, I didn't destroy too much your surname, but anyway, I tried. Founder of Dema Trading AI, headquartered in Amsterdam, the Netherlands, Web3, FinTech, Enterprise, Artificial Intelligence, late seed round, asking for between 500, 700K, 250 already committed. So, Damian, thank you so much for being with us today. And
Thank you.
Sorry if I had some interruption with my microphone. As I said, thank you so much to be with us. And please, if you want to give an introduction to yourself, and after we jump into the topic of business.
Yeah, absolutely. So my name is Damien. I'm based in Amsterdam. Our company is also based in Amsterdam. I have a background, a bachelor in management, economics, and law, a bachelor and a master in artificial intelligence, and a couple of years working experience in the startup and scale-up scene. Typically always tech startups that were growing during the funding stage. Thank you. So today we are going to talk about our portfolios as a service. So in the past, when I was talking about crypto to people and about how the crypto market was evolving, one thing that I really heard a lot from a lot of different people was, well, I've heard about Bitcoin, some people have heard about Ethereum, but a lot of people, when they sign up to a crypto exchange, they go through the KYC process, they verify their identity, they make a deposit, but after that, they don't really know what to do. They are overwhelmed. Most of the coins that they can buy are unfamiliar for them, and typically they become overwhelmed and they just don't do anything in the market because they just don't understand it. I've been thinking about how that problem is solved in other markets, and the traditional market has a very elegant product for that, being index funds or ETFs like the S&P 500. So we thought, well, why don't we make something similar to that and then actually bring that out in the crypto scene as well? So that's exactly what we did. We made a couple of index bots that buy the top 10, top 20 crypto coins for you, and we publish those online on a couple of different platforms. And pretty soon we also got approached by a crypto exchange asking if we could develop something similar for them so that they could run the infrastructure and actually offer a similar product to their customers as well. They told us that a lot of revenue is missed because most of the users are actually buy and holding, meaning they buy, for example, Bitcoin or Ethereum or any other coin, and they just hold it in their portfolio. So about 90% of the revenue, often even 95%, is coming from about 5% of the users, which are the traders on the platform, because most individuals mostly buy and hold. In addition to that, traders typically trade in volatile markets, which means that it's a very unstable revenue stream. Our index solution helps exchanges to realize a higher recurring revenue. We do that by offering these portfolios to the exchanges that offer it to their investors. As I said, similar to, for example, a top 10 in the crypto space. Now, because those portfolios are automatically kept up to date for you and they rebalance the growth differences like on a monthly or even a more frequent basis, there's a much more stable revenue flow for these exchanges as well. So how do we make money? We charge a management fee that is 0.1% per month typically, and we charge a trading fee, which is decreased as the volume increases. This is what we charge to the exchange in this case, and they choose to either pay for that themselves or a part of the costs or all the costs are basically given to all the consumers of the platform. So what is the roadmap? So we've raised a pre-seed before with a round of angels and a firm that makes AI-based trading algorithms. We have an MVP ready. We already have an exchange up and running with this product. And currently we are looking for a seed investment. We already got accepted into the F10 or 10 accelerator program as well, which means that they also come with a follow-on investment and they will actually help us to scale up the product as well. Over the next quarters, what we're looking to develop is a liquidity model, a better price execution model, and something that we're actually developing right now already are market neutral portfolios so that you can actually make money both in a downward sloped market, but also in an upward slope market. When we have that, we think we are Series A ready. And after that, we also want to focus more on the asset management market. So for the market neutral portfolios that we're developing, we actually already talking to another fund manager, which recently came up. But the plan is after Series A round to really focus on the asset management market and then ultimately to become one of the top 3 biggest digital asset managers. We already have some partners, one of the partners being Market Factor Indices. They got acquired by FunEck, which is a big financial institute, at least in Europe that we know of. We already have a couple of strategic partners, and a lot of our angels come from relevant firms for us, being trading firms, tech firms, regulatory instances. A little bit about the team. Of course, I already introduced myself. My partner has a software development background. We have another cloud engineer and a more senior person on the strategic partnerships. And we have a couple of investors and people on the advisory board, which I can provide more information about if required. And that was all the information. Thank you for listening and have a lovely day.
Thank you so much, Damien. As I said today, I'm not making maybe one, but I'm not sure. Let's see after Alex. I'm pretty confident Alex can do an absolutely job. Alex, if you want to address Damien with a couple of questions, please. And before we give an introduction, take 30 seconds, please, to introduce yourself. Thank you.
Sure. So my name is Alex Feldman. I'm the general partner at Feldman Family Office. Feldman Family Office is a family office headquartered in New York City, but I run the European office from Riga, Latvia, where I live now. And outside of, let's say within the family office structure, I'm really focused on what I like to call futuristic deep tech investments because I have a background in biochemistry and the commercialization of science. So that's kind of my background, and yeah, happy to be involved with this. Happy to ask some questions and analyze different startups.
Thank you, Alex. Please go. I'm listening.
Yeah. So I think the first question I have is, I'm trying to think of how to frame this, but it seems like to me, from what I've been following of the crypto space, we're moving towards an era where the retail investor is pulling out, and you're looking at crypto as much more, let's say, in line with kind of standard venture. And so I'm really curious if there's, for the foreseeable future, at least kind of to my analysis, if the retail investor is not really going to be in the crypto space and you're kind of seeing a mass exodus of that, then how will a product like this work if more people are, like you said, most people are buy and holding? I would take that as kind of a more venture-like strategy. You might hold it for 8 to 10 years. It doesn't seem like there's going to be the same kind of demand. So I'm kind of curious. That's kind of my first question is, how do you see this kind of fitting in with the changing, let's say, needs of the venture market?
Yeah, I mean, first and foremost, I think that the retail demand will actually increase in time again. I mean, this is the third bear market I'm living through personally, and sentiment is pretty much always the same at the end of the cycle. Just everything is very crappy, and then the market stabilizes a bit, and then there's some potential, and then it starts to rise again, and then everybody forgot about the last downfall. I do think, however, that there's more potential in the institutional market, I think over the next couple of years, there's going to be more and more legislation allowing more institutional firms to enter the market. And then I'm thinking, for example, about banks, pension funds, family offices as well. If they allocate even a small percentage of their funds, you're really talking about very big clients. So the exchanges are a nice go-to-market strategy for us because we sell the solution branded. And through that, we can already build a brand name. We can develop all the software, but ultimately the institutional part is also a key growth factor.
Okay, so that kind of leads into what was going to be my second question, anyways.
Perfect.
Which is around kind of the, let's say, upcoming regulations.
Yep.
From everything that I'm seeing and all the conversations I'm having around the space, to me it seems like, I mean, regulations coming. To me, it seems like, let's say, most things that would be, let's say, traded on these exchanges would have to be much more highly regulated, like normal securities. And I would probably argue that would, let's say, I would imagine that most current, let's say, cryptocurrencies would not meet like SEC regulations. And so the amount of currencies that could be traded will probably, once they have to be regulated, significantly decline. And I'm just kind of curious, let's say, how much market will, let's say, what will remain after this happens? Let's call it that.
Yeah, I mean, I think I'm not sure, of course, how the whole legislation is going to be around individual coins, because if you're following your argument, then I would guess if what you said is assumed to be true, then I guess there's going to be two different kind of regulations. One really more about the asset itself, and then the other being about the exchanges, for example. Right, so an exchange could get regulated or not, and a different asset could get regulated or not. And I think right now more of the risk is in the exchanges not being regulated than the assets itself. For example, Bitcoin has been trying to, or like a lot of people have been trying to hack their way into Bitcoin, and no one has really succeeded with that right now. But exchanges have very poor risk protocols. They are not regulated at all. So I see a lot more risk there. And I think the regulations in the next couple of years are going to be focused around that. Nevertheless, even if there's only a couple of assets remaining, I still think that a portfolio of the top X amount of assets makes a lot of sense because it helps you to stay up to date in the market. Your risk is rebalanced on a frequent basis, similar like the S&P 500, for example.
Thank you so much, Damien. We finished our time. Please, Damien, if you want to stay, actually stay with us without if. We are all back in the end and with the last question that I'm making to all of you. But please stay with us. I'm moving to the next founder.
Thank you.
Thank you so much to you for your time. Nicolai Stevens, founder of Watcher, headquartered in Eindhoven, Belgium, sector health tech, SaaS, artificial intelligence, AI, Series A's, and seeking for 2.25 million in A round. Nicolai, thank you so much for coming again with us. I'm very pleased to have you again. And please, if you want to give a short intro to yourself, and after go straight to Watcher.
Hi, Max. Thanks a lot. Doing great job, by the way. So my background, I'm a business engineer, and I founded my first residence, elderly residence, in 2013. I did nursery also because of that residence, and now I founded Watcher because it's a complementary system that is being used in elderly residences, and I'm going to explain it to you today. So basically, I'm also the CEO and the founder of the company. And Watcher is a Belgium-based company that provides an automated SaaS and DaaS distress system for maintaining or discovering daily activities of the users. So what is the challenge today is that we don't have the time or the money to be always there for the people, not in construction, not in people at home or in the healthcare. So we're missing a lot of data. It's also not possible to do this both inside or outside the building, as systems only cover one thing. So inside, if you're in the -1 or even in a bigger building, you lack cell phone coverage and all of these things. And it might happen that you're not aware that something is happening on the floor. So we provide a solution for this. And most importantly, it's nearly impossible today to make early detections possible unless you invest a lot in expensive equipment like in hospitals. So we want to make sure that we can cope or get the challenges out of the way when we have as social isolation. We want to know if there's malnutrition, dehydration, is it increased fall risk, heart rate deviations, and so on, before they are happening, in order to prevent them. Now, how we do this is we have a SaaS and DaaS platform where different devices and software can connect to, and healthcare providers or family members can use this to check on their mother or father or other users in like residents or patients in the hospital. The main thing is you don't have the time to always check your data. Nobody does this. But the deviations on the data, this is something we send to the healthcare provider. So 24/7 continuous monitoring. So we give the insights of the well-being of the person, both inside the buildings or outside the building. How we do this is we provide different devices that we install via third parties in residences, people at home or hospitals. And we don't make the devices, to be clear. We have the proprietary technology of the firmware, the software, and the platform. And so we can just choose what devices we want. Do we want an Apple Watch as the next device or something else? Very easy. But capturing the data, that's the most important one for us. So we need to know when someone is having an increased fall risk, the vital parameters monitoring, heart rate, saturation level, voice communication. If someone is calling, then the nurse can ask them, what is happening? Do you need something? I need a bottle of water, and then you don't have to move to the person. You save time logistically, and so on and so on. So we capture a lot of the data and then make predictions about this in order to get high-level AI, knowing when someone is sleeping, having malnutrition, UTIs, and so on. So the next step, what we're doing now, is integrating different systems. This can go from weighting scales to blood pressure monitors or management systems, and even security like G4S. That's a 30 billion revenue generating company who is giving us access to 90 countries with our system. Just to give you an idea about the integrations we're doing at this moment. It's still in an early phase, but this is how we get to bigger markets. Just to give you a look and feel about the software system, on the left, the stress calls, on the right, both inside or outside working with geofencing, and on top of that, continuous indoor location tracking or outdoor location tracking. Very neat. And this is the sweet sauce, in my opinion, of a company. We know on the right where you are, 24/7, inside the building and outside the building. But on the left, we also know when you're brushing your teeth, combing your hair, when you're mopping the floor, walking, eating, like this, or drinking, and so on and so on. And this can be applied on both the user, but also healthcare providers. If we know when someone is dressing them, if we know when someone is combing their hair or brushing their teeth, this can be automatically put into the electronic patient records, saving lots of times administratively. That's the next step of our company. Revenue model, very simple. Two ways. We have assisted living. They pay a service fee per product that they are taking, gateways, beacons, buttons, lights, and so on, or the platform, per living unit installed, or per product really delivered. In the home care market or the business market, for people at home or in companies, for safety and security, it's a CapEx model mostly, where they pay a lot upfront, and then a fixed fee per day per user. Competition, yeah, we do have competition, obviously. There are people, indirect competitors like Apple, Fitbit, BioBeat, but they are not specialized and certified as stress systems, not device agnostic. They can't capture activities of daily living, and it doesn't really work inside the building or outside, only mostly outside. Now, for the other ones, the direct competitors, there are quite some huge players in the market, but with very outdated systems of 20 years old, even in my own residence. I was frustrated about that, and that's why I decided to create Watcher. The board is very experienced, all investors, all operators of elderly residences, serial entrepreneurs, so as I am as well, so quite a bit of expertise. Team is around 25 today and still growing to meet the market demand. We're active in the UK and Belgium last year, now expanding to Canada. Just got a phone call today for 2,000 residents. That's a contract of 1 million, just to give you an example. Revenue last year was 1.3 million, and we hit the first bigger frame contract in the UK of 89 elderly residences, giving us 700K annual recurring revenue. So the milestones is we want to do more in the home care market because we get a lot of demand because of these care centers. Then we want to get the system also medically certified because we really want to detect diseases too. And then expand to the neighboring countries, mostly in Western Europe. So it's a huge market. The global market for elderly care assistive devices is huge, continuously growing. It's a high market, and we really want to penetrate this market heavily. We did already 4 million with an equity investment round. We got a bank loan also of 2.3 million. Series A round that we're doing now, 2.25 million, will mainly be used for expansion and developing also AI, because that is a sweet sauce of the company. If you want to join us in our quest to become the global market player in the AI healthcare, as an AI healthcare platform, then please give me a call and let's do this together. Thanks a lot.
Thank you so much, Nikolai. Alex, please.
Yeah, a couple of kind of quick questions. First one, yeah, just really curious, what is essentially your go-to-market strategy? How are you getting into these residencies? Yeah, what's kind of the timeline? What's kind of sales cycle for selling to them, etc.?
Sales cycle is horrible. It takes 1 year for sure, because it takes a long time. Now we secured a contract, 870 residences of Korean. And the thing is, it takes a long time because you always have these structures. But once you're in, it takes 20, 30 years before you're out. So that's a bit the thing. We're the new player on the block, and now the contracts are coming in. We just signed a contract of 89 elderly residences due to proof of concept of 3 residences in the UK. So once you're in, you're there. Contacting them is fairly easy. You just send an email. You always get people who say the stress systems are damaged, or this and this and this, and then they get to us. Or we simply call them. Very simple.
Gotcha. And what are, let's say, especially with some of those things, what are essentially the unit economics of something like this? How, like, what are your costs? What are the costs? What is like the cost to acquire customers, the lifetime value, these types of things that you're seeing?
Yeah, there is a value proposition that we do because there are 2 questions. So the first question is, we make sure that we have a nearly 10, so it's 1,000% margin on the products and the installation. So it's huge over a 5 years time because it's a mandatory contract of 5 years. It's huge. So we have a lot of flexibility to play with because we can upsell with access points, cabling, extra products, extra management systems, software, and so on. So huge business deal. You need to get in. That's the first one with your distress system. Then you have a lot of opportunities. Second is, for the customer, it's important. It's not a cost. If it's a cost, they don't buy, for sure. They want to see, how do I save costs administratively? How do I save costs logistically? We can prove this. Even more, we just got one. It's on Thursday, that we have a customer of 30 residences, and they say, we want to pay for the validation of the system to know exactly how much we can save on operations. And you know what? In the meantime, you pay for your validation of the system. So we have a nice contract ongoing, so we can install this in 30 residences of us. So we even have customers really interested in how much it can save for them, for their accounts.
Thank you so much, Nikolai. Before we move to our next 2 founders, Alex, if you want to give a short introduction to the 17 on May workshop that we have with you on the fundraising, just 1 minute.
Sure. Just a really quick thing on that. So on May 17th, I'm running a workshop essentially to help you set up your fundraising strategy. It's called, I'm trying to remember the full name, but it's Investors or Customers to an insight from sales to help your fundraising strategy. It will go into things like just the numbers of VC, because I find most founders don't actually understand the numbers behind how VC works. And that tends to be very, very enlightening for many startups. The second thing will be sort of how to essentially create a CRM and investor profiles, and then using that to have a strategy and to create essentially a process. So you have a process for how you do your investment and fundraising activities. And yeah, that's the short 1 minute version.
Thank you so much, Alex. Anyway, we give updates on our next workshop in a few weeks coming, and everyone will be notified. And we hope many of you will join us, because I'm very sure Alex is going to give you great feedbacks and great advices how to move forward in fundraising. Now, let me move to our next third with our 4 founders today. Miles Flambeau. Miles, I know your surname has been destroyed by me, but that's why I'll be very careful. Do not stress too much. Founder and CEO, Actisys, headquartered in New York, US, sector mobility, automotive, smart city, smart manufacturing, investment round A round seeking 9 million in USD. Thank you so much for being with us, Miles. And please, if you want to give a short introduction to yourself, and after we go straight to Actisys.
Yeah, much appreciated, Max. My name is Miles Flammenbaum. Just call me Miles. The surname is, it is a mountain to climb. I appreciate that. I am the CEO of Actisys. We solve the problem of vision sensor function loss, and looking forward to explaining more about what that means, what the impacts are, and how we provide a great solution. We are based also in Brooklyn, New York. So very much appreciated. Thanks everybody for the time. Again, I'm Miles Flammenbaum. I'm CEO of Actisys. Our goal is to provide totally reliable vision sensor data. There are a myriad of sectors that rely on ultimately the massive deployment of vision sensors, cameras, LiDARs, et cetera, for new products, new applications. But sensors are sensitive when they're exposed to heat or vibrations or rain or mud. Ultimately, they can go blind. They lose function, they lose data. It's a threat to safety. It increases downtime, it increases maintenance costs. The question becomes, how do you prevent vision sensor function loss under adverse conditions? So let me explain how Actisys uses our patented technologies to solve the problem. You have data flows that come off a sensor, something happens, weather, temperature, vibrations. The first step is to detect. We have proprietary software that understands what is affecting the sensor and quantifies it. We're then able to use the data from that software to correct the problem. And correction for us is based on our patented hardware. It's a highly efficient electronic actuator cartridge that generates a very strong jet of air to either clean off the sensor lens or to cool it. And then finally, reporting, which is something we're working on now, it allows us to provide downstream information like predictive maintenance and alignment alerts. Pardon me. Just to illustrate, let me share a brief video. This is testing that we did with a vehicle OEM. Left-hand side is untreated. Right-hand side has our system. You can see our system just kicked in. Ultimately, it's an illustration that a sensor that doesn't know it's obscured and continues to provide data is ultimately quite dangerous. Whereas a sensor that is clear is functional and safe. We provide this solution in 3 packages. Total perception detects vision sensor obscuration. It cleans the sensor. It reports about it. Total thermal, very similar. It's just focusing on overheating and cooling the sensor. Oh, pardon me. Let me jump back. And then finally, the total health. Again, it says that downstream reporting on health and operation of the system. Our revenues ultimately come from a combination of software licensing some designs, product sales through the sales of those actuators, and then subscriptions to the reporting system. Also to note that we're setting up third-party manufacturing relationships for the high volume production of the hardware. So there are an incredible number of vision systems being deployed in mobility, in smart cities, smart manufacturing, even after deeply discounting for market characteristics, different types of applications, whatever they may be. There's ultimately very sizable market opportunities for us. And we're demonstrating that we're making traction in those opportunities. So these are all beyond POC. First of all, we focus on relationships with OEMs and tier ones. We put our system into their products. So we're in development programs with Volvo Cars, Webasto, Alstom, Asahi Glass, and joining them, we'll be announcing very soon 2 additional key automotive programs, as well as a smart cities program, and that program will go into production by the end of this year. So if you isolate each of those customers for a 7-year period of time, and note that our products are really, they're embedded in multi-year product programs. So that means that each individual customer opportunity has significant forward-looking revenue. And some products, like vehicles, have multiple sensors, so you're increasing your revenue per deployment. And if you aggregate those customers together and you start with the product launch that we have scheduled at the end of this year, and then you account for those multi-sensor products, the forward-looking revenue opportunity is substantial. In terms of competition, we're the only company that follows this, detect, correct, report paradigm, and that's really driven by industry need. There are sensors that have limited detection, but they don't really develop data that helps ultimately inform the correction process. There are, particularly in the automotive sector, several tier ones that have correction, but based on pumps, compressors, fans, mechanical systems that really aren't scalable and ultimately aren't commercializable. So we're taking our IP, we're taking our competitive advantages and turning these competitors ultimately into partners. Briefly about us, we're based in Brooklyn, New York, team of 16, led by myself, our co-founder, seed investors, Volvo Cars Tech Fund and Next Gear Ventures, and support from a lot of leading labs. We've raised $5 million seed round. We opened a safe in the second half of last year. Next Gear and Volvo participated. We added Q Fund as a new investor in that. We use the safe ideally as a bridge to achieve commercial progress. And then, based on that progress in those programs, we're now opening the Series A. We actually have a fund that's already going to its investment committee for approval, and would certainly be very pleased to speak to you more and tell you more about the company. So thank you for your time.
Thank you, Miles. Thank you very much. Alex, if you want to follow up, please go.
Yeah, I have kind of two different things. Let's start with here first. I'm just really curious. So you talked about the revenue side, but can you talk about what the actual unit economics, the costs of the devices, the software is not really a cost, but so on what that looks like?
Sure. Oh, first of all, let me show you the device so you have a visual. So this is, small, thin, very power efficient, and unfortunately not protected from my cat chewing through one of the wires. So that piece of equipment, that will get down to about $15 per unit in volume. So you need basically one per sensor and then a set of control electronics. So a set of 4 sensors plus the electronics would be about $80 in materials.
Got you. I guess a completely different set of questions. So I know you said you have these kind of 3 different markets. Let's say, which of those 3 markets do you, in your opinion, would you see as the one that is the most, let's call it, desperate for this solution, that kind of really, really wants something like this, that they kind of see this as the biggest problem for them?
Yeah, I wouldn't really necessarily break it down between each of those sectors. I think within each sector, there's a set of applications that is desperate, right? I mean, ideally, anytime you're in a situation where you have a vision sensor that is exposed to harsh environments for a mission critical application, like controlling a vehicle or like controlling traffic, then there's a very high demand. So we don't necessarily weigh one versus the other. I think where we look at the different sectors in terms of prioritization is time to market. Vehicle time to market is long, but the volumes are significant. So really, we're building a portfolio of some low volume, high value opportunities in the near term to get to market, and then we'll have some high value, high volume opportunities in the automotive sector. That will take a little bit longer to get to market.
Gotcha.
Thank you so much, Miles. Alex, do you want to add something else?
No. I think that's fine.
Thank you so much, Miles. Please stay with us because we are all back very soon. Before jumping to our 4th, last, and of course not the least founder, let me tell you, we go, as I said before, live any Tuesday, 5 p.m. UK time. We'll be launching soon our Asia pitch day. We know that for Asia, it's almost impossible, for Southeast Asia countries, almost impossible to jump because it's too late. And some of them, it's probably already above midnight to 3 o'clock in the morning. So we can't do this. This is why we decided we start in April the equity match pitching Asia, and we bring four funders from the Asia country, Middle East, Southeast Asia, and Asia, pitching to invest mainly in the Orient, investing again in the in Middle East and Asia continent. Also, for each of us who wants to make a question, please do it without any problem. We have time until 7 o'clock UK time, 8 o'clock Europe time. Sorry, vice versa, 6 o'clock UK, 7 Europe. So please, and if you want to make any question, just bring your question, and I make sure that I can ask to the funders. And meanwhile, we have one question, but let me jump to our last founder, so there's another 10-15 minutes so we can follow up with some questions before closing the last 5 minutes. So our last founder is Daniel Inasov. Daniel is a founder of Level 3L Pub, headquartered Tomsk, Russia, sector Web3, investment round, pre-seed round, and seeking 375 USD. Daniel, thank you so much for coming to Beanstalk. To coming to our pitch day. Again, Beanstalk, today maybe I'm a bit late, but let me jump on this error. We also have Beanstalk in Equity Match. So if you want to come to talk to me about your venture, I'm very pleased to welcome you. Now, back without making any more mistakes. Daniel, thank you so much for coming. If you want to please give an introduction to yourself, and after we can jump straight to Level 3 and up.
Okay. Thank you, Max. Well, first of all, I want to say everybody had great pitches, and it's kind of hard to go the last one after such an amazing roster of people. So great job, guys, and it's an honor to be a part of this roster. I'm, I guess, what they call half and half, which means that I'm 43, and more than half of my life I've spent in the U.S. The rest of the life of mine I've spent in Eastern Europe, Russia, and so on. And so the current situation that we have in the world pushes me and motivates me more in terms of Web3 as a technology, blockchain, and crypto, because that's one of those places that's fair, that's beautiful. I guess it's a second chance for the humanity to do things right. I've worked at several financial companies. I've also started a couple of startups. One of them is still running in Connecticut. It's a limo company. So I have a little bit of business experience in Web2, and for the past several years, I've also been working in Web3. I'm one of the 4 co-founders of Level Up, and I guess that's where we begin our story. Like I said, Web3 is, and that's my personal belief, it's a second chance for the world, right? To correct the wrongs and actually to build something beautiful, transparent, and so on. And a lot of people compare it with the early days of the internet, but all of us know that all of us know that Web3 is kind of taking its time with mass adoption. And we believe that mass adoption is a challenge for several reasons. And that's actually why we started our project, Level Up. So as part of the problem, we see is that an average Web2 user doesn't see a clear use case with direct benefit for himself in the usage of Web3 at this point. And even the users that do have some kind of interest in Web3 tech and crypto and blockchain, they have a pretty large gap between the motivation to be a part of Web3 and actually the required knowledge to enter and successfully navigate the space. And so these same users, most of the time, they lose money, they lose interest, they get frustrated, and as a consequence, they never ever want to come back and touch Web3 with a pitchfork. That's it, they're done. So our solution, Level Up, addresses this problem, and it's based on several key concepts to drive mass adoption that we think are functional and necessary. It's a reputation-weight economy, community building and retention, also real verifiable on-chain KYC or DID, and mentor-mentee educational questing. So our solution has a clear case, brings benefit and value to the Web2 user, and the key thing is that it's only possible with and via Web3. So this is what Level Up is. It's a gamified hub with a credential infrastructure for Web3 communities, individuals, and businesses. What it does, pretty much, it's like an older brother. It takes an average Web2 user by the hand and helps him or her to navigate the blockchain space. And in the process, this average Web2 user builds up his own chain transparent reputation. They monetize their contribution. They find and connect with like-minded people, belong to a real community. They generate and interact with verifiable content, which is created by users just like them. And probably the most important part, they have fun while doing all of this navigating endeavor in the Web3 space. So that's Level Up in a nutshell. As I've stated before, one of our key elements is on-chain ID. So please notice that Level Up ID that we have, it's an aggregated ID. What that means that if you already are a Web3 proponent and maybe you already have a Fractal ID, you can use that. If you have a Binance account and you have a BABT token, you can use that. Or maybe for people who live in Canada, you're friends with Vitalik Buterin and you're the first one to have an SBT, right? Soul bound token. You can use that also. But if you are just an average person who does this for the first time, you can mint your own first Level Up ID and go through with that. The second part of our solution is a dApps catalog with verified online rating and review system. And this is where all the projects will have, I guess, their place under the sun, so to speak, for the users that will come in on the platform. Then we have questing capabilities, introductory quests. They will allow the user to get familiar with a certain project, a certain product in a certain niche, be that Web3 gaming, DEXs, or any other of the blockchain companies and projects. Then we have daily quests, and daily quests, these are the ones that keep the user interested and motivated in the long run, for the user to come back, for the user to keep on learning and moving forward in their quest. We also have a leaderboard and tournaments, and this is, I guess, where all three of innate men's desires come into play, right? So here you will have competition, conquest, status, so a user can dominate, set himself apart, and level up his Web3 skills and knowledge. Also, one of our solutions is a DGV. It's a decentralized joint venture, and it's a new concept for Web3 because what we've done is we've taken successful and very, very useful concepts like clans, guilds, and DAOs, and we've improved upon them. What I mean by saying we've improved upon them, we have given the control back to the user. So not only can he or she be a part of the DAO, for example, but they can start their own DAO. Not only he or she can, play a game in a guild, they can start their own guild. So it's kind of both sides of the coin. And last but not least, this is our team. So the project is backed by a great team of founders. All of us have experience in Web2 and Web3. And I guess the most important part, we all have families and kids. And I'm saying this with a specific purpose, right? I'm a husband of 3 beautiful kids, and I have a wife at home, so I have to provide. So does everybody on the team. So having said the above, any one of us could have chosen to provide in a number of easier or more lucrative ways at the moment, right? But we chose Level Up, which is a completely fresh startup. And the reason we've done it because we deeply believe in the idea. I've started my pitch with the whole reason for me Web3 being very personal, because we also know that we will provide extreme value for the Web3 space. And what we're doing with Level Up now will greatly affect mass adoption and change the landscape of Web3 and probably forever. So to put all this in perspective, you're looking at a bunch of guys, I'm one of them, and a girl, who have a good idea of what they're doing in terms of business and have a project unlike any other with a clear goal and a specific purpose. All four of us here are to make Web3 better, bring it to the next level, level up. And in the process of providing the much needed value, we know we will generate money because we're doing a great job and doing what people value. That's it.
Nikolai, thank you so much. Alex, if you want to address a couple of questions, and after we have one question, I suppose, for Miles. Yes, I think so, from one audience. So please, Alex, thank you.
So I think the first question that I have, because I want to understand this aspect of it, at least I feel like Web3 has become, let's say, a catch-all term that's actually about many different technologies, which I think is actually part of the reason why, let's say, your standard, let's say, Web2 user is sort of turning away from it. Is sort of Web2 is much more, let's say, straightforward and like direct in what it is, compared to Web3 actually embodies many different things. So I'm a little bit curious because it wasn't quite as clear for me, or I want this clarified. Like, which aspects of Web3 are being integrated here? Because it's definitely not like all of it. So can you kind of define that a little bit more specifically? Because it doesn't seem like this is a Web3. It seems like this is more of a specific subset of Web3 that's being solved.
Well, actually, Alex, you would actually be the perfect customer, maybe one of the first ones on the platform. This is what the whole purpose of the platform is, to educate a person about Web3, what it is and how to use it. Let's say we take Damien, and he is very interested in crypto, and he wants to learn more about crypto. On our dApps catalog, there will be applications just in this space, crypto. So you log in, and we take you by the hand with the quests co-authored with these projects. And you first maybe connect your wallet. Second, maybe you go to the dApp and you are being taught on how to purchase crypto, how to transfer it to your wallet, what to look for, what are the commission fees. Then maybe you go, next step is to go to a DEX. That's if you are a person who's interested in crypto. If you are a person who's interested in Web3 gaming, same thing. There is a part of this catalog for Web3 gaming. What's play to earn, right? Is it even something that I need to do? What's the difference between Web3 game and Web2 game? Also, because you have online feedback, which is verified, because everybody will go through a liveness check via the Level Up ID, you will see the ratings of the dApps, and you will know that if a Web3 game is a good game, it's not because it's a Ponzi scheme and they just gave you a bunch of worthless NFTs. No, it's because it's really good gameplay. If you like strategy, somebody will say, hey, it's a strategic game. If somebody likes first-person shooters, they'll say, hey, you know what, I got some really nice skills doing this. So all of this in one will actually teach a person what blockchain space is. And as it evolves, a person can actually follow the evolvement with the product on the platform. So we're taking this job upon us, and we hope that it will be helpful.
All right. So with that in mind, it basically sounds like you're creating a Web3 education platform. But with that in mind, are you guys going to be the ones creating the content, like the educational content yourself of, like you said, how do I don't know, say run crypto or this or that, or
Right.
where's this content coming from?
That's actually one of our go-to-market strategy ideas, where we will partner up with all of the products on our platform. So if you are a Web3 game, going back to gaming, obviously you would like users. First of all, you would like to have real users to play your game. Second of all, you would like for that to know what they think about your game, instant feedback. On the same token, you want to educate the users about the best way to play your game, and you want to have some kind of special treatment for the guys that come in, let's say at an early stage, if you are just developing your game. So we will have co-authored quests with each one of these dApps. So it's not only us doing it, because obviously the four of us could not know everything about Web3 and the Web3 changing as fast as it does, but the people that are on our platform in their specific niches with their specific products, they have the key knowledge that we will put together and educate the user.
Daniel, thank you so much. Please stay here. I'm just taking a couple of questions from our audience. Emra, please don't get me wrong, but again, it's very complicated to pronounce your name. I'm not going to do so because I don't want to destroy your surname. So let me only go Emra from LinkedIn. I want to bring the first one, and I do believe is for Miles. Miles, is this a patented tech, and is there a liability aspect that arise as a pass-through from clients?
So it is patented. Actually, there are several patents that either have been issued or we're currently prosecuting in many jurisdictions around the world. In terms of liability, there clearly is a safety aspect to what we do, in that we're anticipating ultimately that there will be regulatory requirements for our system. For example, on vehicles, as you get to higher levels of assisted driving, that does ultimately put us in a position where we will have to warrant some level of reliability and predictability in our performance going forward, but not anything that would be untoward in terms of generally as being a component in another system. There's nothing that stands out further than that.
Thank you, Miles. Again, we have another one, always with Emra, and I do believe this is why it's Web3. So, Danny, that's yours. So what happens is a few years when more and more people are well versed in Web3. How do you then make money once people have learned?
Oh, cool. The answer is simple. Number one, we're not making money. Our business model, our clear business model, is not to make money of the customers. Actually, this is something we will figure out with the projects on the platform. And I guess the real answer to this is that Web3 changes, and more people will become better versed at Web3, as you've pointed out. But the thing is, with the change of Web3, so will the product. Right now, it's very clunky. Even to connect your MetaMask wallet, it takes you like 4, 5, 7 clicks, depending on what you're using, what kind of operating system, what kind of are you on the phone. In 2, 3, 4 years, this is going to be done like this, just like the internet now. Obviously, people will need to catch up and figure out what's the new tech and how to use it. So our platform is exactly for that. A new product comes out, we co-author a quest with this product, which takes you by the hand and teaches you how to use the specific product to the best of your abilities.
Thank you so much, Daniel. Daniel, now we are very much to close our event today. So I would like to have all of you guys back. Alex, please stay as well. It's nice to have all of you taking part in our pitch event today. And as I always do, I like to ask this my question to each of you. Why investing in yourself and your team, your startup? Let me start from the last, but absolutely not the least. Daniel, if you want to 30 seconds, why invest in yourself, your team, and your company?
Sure. Well, number one is the motivation that we have behind Web3 and bringing it to the masses. Number two, we actually do have a clear use case. We're not looking to do a 10x tomorrow. Uh, we have a business model. That's why we're only looking for 375,000 because we know how to generate money and clear audience and a key advantage. We have two. One, we have CIS market and Eastern Europe, and on the other part, we have a strategic partnership with a giant of the Web3, which is Fractal ID. So that's why.
Thank you so much, Daniel. All the luck you can, and I wish you all the best. Thank you. Stay, please. Now, let me move to Demian. Please, why?
Great. I think there's a couple of reasons. I think with the pre-seed that we've raised, we've already proven that we can build something. We have some awesome backers, which show traction as well. And I think the timing is perfect. I think crypto is very upcoming. There's a need to make it easy for people, to make it safer for people, which are the two main factors that we're focusing on. So I think everything is aligning well. The timing, the market, we have a proper team in place to build everything, a good network, an accelerator upcoming, which is one of the best in Europe. So everything is aligned to shine. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Damian. Again, all the best. Miles.
Yeah, thanks for the question. I think we ultimately have the recipe for success. A fantastic team, a lot of knowledge, well connected to our customers, experienced senior management with prior startup experience, technology with IP protection, competitive advantages, customer traction, really showing clear demand from the markets, and pending deal announcements on top of that in some very large market spaces, and already supported by some high profile investors. So we really feel like we have the whole package to ultimately be successful.
Thank you so much, Miles. And again, even for you, all the best and luck for this round. And let me close with Nikolai. Nikolai, please, why invest in your startup?
Hey, because it's based on a lot of field experience. In my own elderly residence, I have been doing nursery, and I had people dying from cardiac arrest because they had a distress button, but it doesn't sense heart rate deviation, so they simply die. You find them on the floor, dead in a puddle of blood. Someone cycling outside, very good person, and ending up in a pond, simply dying as well. You find them in the morning. If you had a distress system like Watcher, we would have known it automatically. Or people just on the parking, laying there for 3 to 4 hours because the current distress systems don't connect inside the building. So someone comes with this person to your place on your desk and says, "Is this the quality of healthcare you provide?" And I was like, dear God, this is not possible. And that's why we founded Watcher.
Thank you so much, Nikolai. Guys, I really thank you to all of you, Nikolai, Miles, Alex. I need to remind all of you, Damian and Daniel, to take part on this event. It's been great, and only thank you. And of course, thanks to Equity Match Team that always allows me to talk. I hope you get many investors being just your startup, in your venture, and in Equity Match, we'll do all our best to back and support you all the way up. Thank you again. Thank you to all the audience that has been with us today watching us. And again, see you next Tuesday, 5 p.m. UK time. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Max.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Thank you.